What's up, everyone? All right, well, here we are, Tuesday morning, and it ended up being, actually it's Tuesday afternoon now, it's 2:30. It ended up being kind of a slow day for me. I started this morning, I sat down around 8 o'clock, 8:15, EVOK, ended up very quickly moving up the scanner. It was a penny stock. It was like 30, 40 cents yesterday. Once it's up to 60 cents, it's up 100%, ended up going up to 90 cents, 150%, 95 cents, $1, $1.05, $1.07, pulled back, $1.10, pulled back, $1.13, pulled back, $1.17, pulled back, and it kept kind of inching higher. And finally I was like, you know what? All right, I'll take a trade. So first trade, 50,000 shares long. It squeezes up. I ended up making like 4 cents a share on it from, I think it was like $1.20 to $1.24. Not a big win, but $1,000. All right, well, but remember commissions. Commissions were really high today. Got back in, whatever, $1.25, got out at $1.30, got back in at $1.33, got out at $1.36, got back in at $1.36, stopped out at $34, back in at $35, out at $39. So just really small moves with larger share size. And going into the open, I thought we were going to pull away and open squeeze into a halt. And so I started to size up bigger position into the open and ended up hitting that like 41 level and then dropped. So I ended up losing on that trade, and I was up about 6 cents on a bigger position. I'll go over it in more detail during the recap. And so I had unrealized profit, ended up flushing down and taking a loss on that trade, and basically brought me back to flat on EVOK. And then I had 2 other trades that I got at the open or within the first hour, and finished the first part of the morning at a little over $4,000 before fees and commissions. So not, to me, a great morning, but about the same profit as yesterday. And yesterday, if you recall, I went down like 8,000 before rallying from red to green. So in some ways, it was not as bad as yesterday. So equal P&L, but achieved without having to go deep in the red. So that was good. Came back to do the recap, sat down at like 2:30 and saw NUTX squeezing up 130, 140, 150, 160%. Wow, it's got a big float. It's a recent IPO. I saw the dip. I saw perfect 1 minute micro pullback. I executed. Got in 10,000 shares, rips up and was out with $7,000 of profit. So that moved me up to $11,349.37 on the day. Reminder, as always, my results are not typical. I'm sharing them with you because I think it's important you know the person that you're learning from is credible, qualified. This is real money, but you shouldn't interpret this to mean that you will achieve the same. We don't track the typical result of traders in our community, so we can't say that you will be more or less successful than the average trader. All right, that's my disclaimer of risk. Trading is risky. Practice and simulate it before you put real money on the line. Feel free to tune in tomorrow morning, right around 8:45, 9 a.m. for the morning show if you want to watch me trading in real time. Today, we got the watch list and some trades. Yesterday, I don't think I traded during the morning show. I think the morning show was no trade, but I can't remember now. In any case, I hope tomorrow we do have some opportunities, given that we have a nice move on NUTX today, 160%, FRGE, another 40% there. I mean, we had some nice momentum, so I'm hopeful that we see some good action tomorrow morning and that, we kind of have a good Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to finish off the month of April. All right, so as always, I hope you hit the thumbs up. I hope you're subscribed to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the recap, and I'll see you tomorrow for the morning show around 8:45, 9 a.m. All right, see you then. All right, everyone, so I'm going to go over the trades from this morning. Traded 4 different stocks and also accidentally made $147.55 in my regular trading account, which means I have to pay income tax on that. So, every time I do that, I'm adding a little bit more that I'm going to have to pay tax on. But this is tax-free. So, not bad. The 4 stocks I traded, NUTX, EVOK, FRGE, SkyH. We'll start at the beginning with the first stock I traded today, EVOK. So when I sat down this morning around 8 a.m., EVOK at that time was our leading gapper, up about 160% as it was breaking over $1. Now, normally I really don't like trading these lower price range stocks because the only way for me to make good money on them is to trade with large share size. So 25, 50,000 share positions, totally standard on a price range like this. And so if I buy 50,000 shares, because my routing fees are around 0.003, it's gonna be around $300 round trip to buy and sell. So if I take a 50,000 share trade 10 times, I could end up having $3,000 in commissions. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but the commissions can really, really stack up very quickly. So I do have to be careful of that. You know, some people who are trading with Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade, or E-Trade don't have to worry about that. But anyways, it is a problem for me. So I have to be a little bit careful there. I didn't log in to see what my commissions are today. I don't really care that much. I mean, I know that I probably didn't make all that much on whatever it is, EVOK in total. It looks like I traded about 350,000 shares to the buy side and 350 to the sell side. So let's see. So 750,000 shares approximately times 0.003. It's going to be about $2,250 in commissions. That kind of, you know, that's a lot of commissions. So as it turns out, didn't really make money on it. Only up $2,200. That's the commission. That's a little disappointing. My first trade was around $1.10 as it started to break away up here, 107, and just kind of kept trading it as it was grinding higher. And going into the open, I was holding about 75,000 shares with an average of 135, and I was looking for the squeeze into the halt at the open. So when it was at 141, I was up like $5,000 on it, but I didn't take it off the table because I was looking for that squeeze up to 150, halt up, maybe higher. That could have easily been a $15,000, $20,000 winner. It just didn't end up happening. It didn't end up working, and it ended up pulling back at the open. So I was up $4,000 on it, and on that trade at the open, I lost $2,000. And so that put me basically back to break even on that stock. So kind of disappointing. It's one of the things I said about these stocks is you churn commissions when you're with a direct access type of broker, and it's just the way it goes. Like I said, I didn't log in to see what my fees are. You do get a rebate if you add liquidity. Let's see, routing fees. If I check the routing fees at Lightspeed, well, actually, I'm not even seeing where it lists it anymore. They changed their page around a little bit here. So whatever, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so I don't think I really did all that well on that one. So it is what it is. Okay. So that was the first one I traded. And then we had Sky H squeeze up. And Sky H, this one I traded a couple times and it was pretty choppy and it was right around the 200 moving average on the daily chart, but it seemed like it wanted to break that level. So I started trading it as it broke 1150 right here, squeezed up to 1178, drops down, lost 500 on the first trade. I got back in over 1175. It squeezes up to a high of 12, took the profit out, was up $1,500 on it. Then I got back in right around 1215, 1220, and ended up stopping out and giving back the $1,500 I had made. So I'm down $31 on Sky H. At the same time, FRGE started squeezing up, and I jumped on this one, and actually it's continuing nicely here. So I jumped on this one as it was squeezing up in this candle here and rode the momentum from about 1450 average all the way up to a high there of 1597. So I made about 2,000 on that one. It pulled back. I tried to take a dip trade in it here for the curl back through 15, but ended up losing a little on that. So gave back a little profit on that one. Glad to see it's at high a day. That's always nice to see. First pullback, second pullback, third pullback, a little choppy, but you know, definitely moving. So that's good. And then, so I finished the morning up about $4,300. But of course, really only about half of that because of commissions. And then NUTX came along. So NUTX, I sat down here to do my recap and I saw it tap 9 and then squeeze up through 10, and it's pushed up to a high here of 1069. And as it pulled back, I started getting dialed in here, and I ended up getting a couple of really nice trades on it. So this trade right here was a almost picture perfect 1 minute micro pullback. And I took it with 10,000 shares, and I was in at about 1140 average, and it went all the way up to $13. It halted up at 1347. On resumption, it dipped. I bought the dip at 1231. It then squeezes back up to 1380, and I took my profit out. And that was it. Those are my trades. So I got 2 decent trades on it. The best trade was the first 1 minute pullback, smaller share size on the dip trade, but ended up making $7,000 on that as a surprise trade in the afternoon. And on that one, my commissions are going to be, let's see, about $180. And that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'm totally okay with that. So 180 bucks in commissions is much better commission ratio than on EVOK. Of course, at a higher price range, I'm trading with smaller share size. So because my commissions are factored based on share size, the higher share size stocks can get me. Now an EVOK that ends up ripping 20, 30 cents with 75 or 100,000 shares, that absolutely can pay itself. That can be, $20,000, $30,000 trade. So it's okay. But what I ended up doing on it was getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out, because it would sort of squeeze up a little and then it would pull back, right? Like right up to here. It's kind of breaks through 19 and then it drops down here on this red candle. Then it kind of squeezes up again and then it drops down. Squeezes up again and then it drops down. Squeezes up again and then it drops down. And when you're trading with that kind of size, you really don't want to hold through a 15-cent pullback. So you end up getting in, at least I find myself getting into sometimes over trading it. This price action, while the thing went from 90 cents to $1.40 right in this range, you can see that it wasn't actually as parabolic as NUTX. Comparatively, NUTX made a much cleaner move from 10 up to 14, $4 a share. Now, granted, $4 a share is only 40% move, whereas EVOK ended up being up over 200%, 300% at one point. It's still up 255, or it was a gapper of 255. Still at about, I don't know, where did it open? No, that was about at its peak. So in any case, doesn't really matter. But clearly, there's, for me, more money in stocks a little on the higher price range, not too high. You get into $30, $40, $50 a share. I've had some trades up in that price range that I've done really badly on because I end up, you catch a 5-point flush or a 10-point flush and you can really get smoked. So there's a sweet spot, and it's kind of between $2 and $20. And sometimes I trade on the low side of that sweet spot because, hey, EVOK was the leading gapper and it made sense. I wouldn't have traded it if it weren't so dang obvious. It was the leading gapper. Everyone was watching it. Had a lot of volume. It's got over 193 million shares of volume right now. So, it made sense to trade it. And I stepped up to the plate and I was up $4,000 on it, which, I would have been happier to finish up 4 or maybe to finish up 10. But, I swang, I kind of took a swing for that final trade here into the open, and with 75,000 shares being up 5 cents a share was, 3,500. So I guess I was up 7,000 on it, but then ended up that turned into a losing trade and put me from up 7 to up only 2. Had it squeezed through 45 and 50 into a halt and then opened higher at 60, 68, 70. Might have seen a move up to 2, and that could have been a pretty nice trade. So what's important, I think, for me is setting myself up so I can take some swings like that with what ends up being, as far as I'm concerned, relatively minimal risk. Why was it minimal risk? Well, I was already up on the trade, so I could afford to kind of let it ride. And it didn't work out, and so I ended up coming back to more or less flat after commissions. But that versus the potential to end up having a really nice trade, I'm usually okay with that risk reward. And UTX, this one just ended up being the one that ended up moving a little bit more, and for me being a bit easier to trade. Usually don't do a lot of trading in the afternoon, but this float is a little higher, but boy, this thing's up 165% right now, and it was lighting up the scanners. So it's a somewhat recent IPO, and if it wants to squeeze, you know, I don't want to leave that opportunity on the table. But at this point now, with a false breakout at around 13 here, and clearly pulling back, I'm not interested in it any longer. I would say at this point, it looks like it's on the backside of the move. So probably leave it alone. So that ended up being my day. Was not expecting to have a really great day after this morning. You know, EVOK didn't go very well. Leading gapper failed. Kind of thought, that's probably it. Got a little momentum on SkyH and FRGE. Didn't really make that much on it. Threw in the towel around 10:30 at $4,000 of profit on the day, and then ended up sitting down to record my recap here. And as I, loaded stuff up, here was an opportunity right in front of me. I always try to be careful about that because, I was getting in for the first time at 11:50 or 11:30, whatever it was. I had already missed this entire move from 6 up to 11. Just the luck of the draw that when it started to open up, I was not in front of my computer, so completely missed this move. I can see how you could have traded this move and lost money, halted down right here, rallied back up, but then topping tails, dropped back down. So had I been around, I might have actually lost money on it. But I don't know. It ended up that I sat down at what happened to be the right time, and so that was good. So grateful for that. Yesterday wasn't a particularly exciting day. I went down, what was it, $7,000-8,000 on the day. Finished the day up about $4,000. So this morning when I was up $4,000, I was like, well, in a way it wasn't as bad as yesterday because I didn't go red. Yesterday I went red on the day. Today I just kind of only had small gains. And then fortunately I had this one trade here that gave me a little cushion. So now I've got a little cushion on the week, about 15,000 on the week before fees and commissions. Fees and commissions, this is just part of the game. It's part of the deal, and it's a calculated decision which broker you want to use. Some people who maybe are a little smarter than me will have multiple brokers. So when when they're not feeling like, well, and I have my TD Ameritrade account here, but I don't have a substantial amount of money in it. It feels like it would, for the most part, just be kind of sitting there because I use it so rarely. But this would have been a day where I could have punched some 10,000 share orders on EVOK and not had to pay a fee and commission on it. So I don't know, kind of tempting, but whatever. So yeah, and a question there, where do I sit on the month? I don't know. I haven't looked. I don't even know. I could probably guess, but I don't even really care to. I will, of course, tell you where I sit at the end of the week. So Friday or maybe on Monday, I'll do a April month in review, and we'll see where I finish. But I kind of decided this month to not look too closely, just to try to keep my head down, focus on having good days, sort of as standalone good days, and not try to think about, where I was sitting on the month. Because sometimes you start to think, oh gosh, I'm up this amount on the month, and then you get attached to that number, and if you start to lose money, you're trying to get back to that number. I have had 2 red days this month, not bad, but I have had 2 red days, so it's something I have to be a little careful that I don't, dig myself a hole and get emotional, if I have a red day tomorrow or something like that, especially as we get near the end of the month. So anyways, I've got 3 days left here, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll try to finish the month strong and then go into the month of May with, a little bit of a cushion. I think that this probably is, there's a very good chance that this will be my best month of the year so far. But it may not be. I don't know. My commissions could be higher than I realize. I might be thinking it's been better than it has been. I don't think I really had any single days that were really terrific, but I also haven't had any really devastating days either. So it's just kind of been just a steady month as far as I can tell. this last week was a little slower. We were having some momentum on sort of lower price names, same as today on EVOK. So, a little slower, but I don't know. So anyways, that's it for me. Reminder as always, of course, that trading is risky and my results are not typical. Typical result of most traders is losing money. We don't track the typical result of traders in our community, so we can't make any guarantee that you'll be more or less likely to succeed. So do be mindful that trading is risky. You should trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. And I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, as always, for the morning show and for trading early for Warrior Pro All Access traders and then through the morning. And hopefully we have some good opportunities tomorrow. I hope tomorrow is a little better than today. Today ended up being okay, really thanks to just that one trade kind of at the end of the morning. I am just hoping that maybe that's a sign of things to come for the rest of the week. Some nice momentum. We'll see. All right, so that's it for me. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I'm going to end the recap here, and then I'll talk a bit to Warrior Pro students. I hope you really enjoyed that video, and make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Our goal is to hit 1 million subscribers this year, but we won't get there without your help. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button.